My name is Elizabeth Sandoval, and this is my Marshall project. I chose the case of Cherokee Nation v. Georgia. This is my first project like this online, so it's a little nerve-wracking, and this is the first time I do it, and my English is not so good because Spanish is my first language, but I'm gonna try my best to say these big words that sometimes I can't understand. Okay, so some information about this case. The case is titled Cherokee Native v. State of Georgia. The full name was only used when referring to the legal proceeding between these two when it was presented in court, in Supreme Court. The date when it began was March 18, 1831. The Chief of Justice was Josh Marshall. The plaintiff was Cherokee Nation. The defendant was obviously the state of Georgia. And the overall question of this case was, did the Supreme Court have jurisdiction to hear the case? The case was Cherokee Nation's request for an injunction to prevent Georgia from enforcing its law into Cherokee territory. Some background information about this case. The Cherokee Nation occupied a large piece of land territory in Georgia and the surrounding states, which some of the surrounding states were Georgia, as well as North Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, and some more. Georgia began passing laws to exert control over the Cherokee territory, disregarding Cherokee territory sovereignty and treaty rights. The Cherokee Nation argued these laws were unconstitutional and desired protection from Supreme Court, but the court dismissed the case because they stated that the lack of jurisdiction over the matter. So basically how this whole case started. In 1831, Cherokee Nation began an injunction from Supreme Court. This was to prevent the state of Georgia from enforcing laws that stripped the Cherokee people from their rights and land. They did this because in the 1828 and 1829, Georgia passed some laws that aimed to dismantle the Cherokee Nation's government and seizing their land and forcing them to assimilate or basically relocate somewhere else. So, Cherokee's response, the nation desired to protect their rights through system. They argued back that the treaties they had with the U.S. government guaranteed the sovereignty and land rights. Moving on, some arguments and deliberation. Some arguments presented. The Cherokee Nation argued that they were sovereign nations with the rights to self-governance and protection from state interference, citing treaties and historical agreements, with what Georgia countered by saying that it had the right to extend its laws over all territory within its borders, including their lands. Supreme Court deliberation. This is when the Supreme Court, under Chief of Justice John Marshall, carefully considered the arguments of both sides of the party. The case also examined the historical context. The treaties in question, they had a nature of the relationship between the Cherokee Nation and the United States. Destinations. In conclusion, Chief Justice John Marshall ruled that the Cherokee Nation was not a foreign nation, but rather a domestic dependent nation. Therefore, the Supreme Court did not have original jurisdiction to hear the case. This decision was delivered in 1831. Significance. Native American law. Cherokee Nation v. Georgia is a landmark Supreme Court that significantly impacted Native American law and relationship between the federal government and Native American tribes. Federal protection. The ruling established that Native American tribes were protected by federal law and their territory was separated from state jurisdiction. So for a relationship, this case established a precedent that has influenced the relationship between the federal government and the Native American tribes to this day. These were some of my citations that I used. So thank you for listening to me. I hope y'all could understand most of it. Some words are hard for me to say, but I tried my best. So thank you.